What's up, everybody? This is Chris Surratt bringing you another edition of the Car Concierge Show, the show that helps with the buying, selling, maintaining, and repairing of your vehicle. On today's show, we're going to talk about Stellantis and their newest setback as they are putting a hold on them building some EV Ram vehicles out of the Sterling Heights assembly plant. Also, we're going to talk about dealership cloning as a young lady is gaffled out of roughly about $45,000 in an attempt to buy a Tesla, a phenomenon of dealership cloning, a phenomenon that is affecting people like me who do sell cars and vehicles online. So we're going to talk about that for a second. And last but not least, we're going to go off the rails a little bit. We're going to talk about female police officers and if that is the best position for the young ladies of our world. Alright, so let's jump into it. First off, we're going to talk about Stellantis, something that we usually talked about a lot, but Stellantis has tried its best to stay out of the news as of late, but they have a situation where they're going to cut back on or delay the building of one of their Ram 1500 EV vehicles, and of course it's going to hurt their EV sales to some degree, but they're going to cut back a little bit on that. Let's see what they're talking about.
Buckle up, because things just got bumpy for Stellantis. Remember the buzz when Ram first unveiled the 1500 REV? That big, bold, all-electric pickup that was supposed to shake up the truck world? Well, it's been over 2 years since that reveal, and if you were hoping to park one in your driveway this year, we've got some bad news. Stellantis has officially pushed back the launch again. Originally scheduled for a late 2024 release, the Ram 1500 REV has now been delayed until summer 2027. That's right, by the time you can actually buy one, we'll be talking about the 2028 model year. That's a full 4 years after its flashy debut back in February 2023. And it's not just the REV that's hitting the brakes. The Ram Charger, which combines electric power with a range-extending V6 engine, has also been shoved down the calendar. It was supposed to hit showrooms in late 2024. No. You might get your hands on one in the first quarter of 2026 if Stellantis doesn't change the script again. So why the sudden slowdown? According to Stellantis spokesperson Jody Tinson, the delay is due to slowing consumer demand for half-ton battery electric trucks. Ouch. It's a reality check that even the biggest automakers aren't immune to the challenges of convincing pickup buyers to go electric. What's even more surprising is the shift in the release order. Originally, the 1500 REV was meant to launch before the Ram Charger. But in a twist that would make Night Shyamalan proud, that plan was reversed last year. Now here's something you may not know. Both trucks will be built at the Sterling Heights assembly plant in Michigan, where Stellantis is investing a massive $235.5 million to gear up for electric vehicle production. This plant is set to become the company's first U.S. factory to assemble a fully electric vehicle. For comparison, other Stellantis EVs are being built abroad. The Dodge Charger Daytona is being produced in Windsor, Ontario, the Jeep Wagoneer S is rolling out of Toluca, Mexico, and the tiny Fiat 500e? That one's shipped straight from Turin, Italy. Now,
Alright, so they're just probably going to cut this off here shortly, but what we're talking about is just Stellantis just being behind the eight ball when it comes to a lot of the EV situations. And of course, it's not helpful that they're openly telling us that most of their EV vehicles that they already have are done overseas, and they're really sitting here pointing us to the fact that it's almost impossible for them to make EV vehicles here in the U.S. And the fact that they keep pushing back these Ram EVs that were supposed to be built at the Sterling Heights assembly is really bad business all the way around. I mean, it's showing a lack of ability to move forward. It's showing a lack of ability to stay with the times. It's showing a lack of ability to be able to work with others to get these things done. So it all goes back to what I've always said about Stellantis, that they were just one of those corporate raiders that was going to come in, buy up all our great U.S. automakers and then just sell them to pieces. I still really believe that.
Now, I want to hear from you, the real auto enthusiasts, future EV buyers, and fans of innovation. Do you think Stellantis is making a smart move by delaying these models for better quality, Or is this just a sign that they're falling behind in the electric truck race?
It's a sign that they're falling behind when it comes to everything, when it comes to U.S. automakers. The simple fact that they opened the Sterling Heights assembly back up was a complete positive, and that's what they expected it to be, a complete positive to get people off their backs about all the other bad things that they've been doing when it comes to the U.S. automakers. And this is not helping. This is just hurting whatsoever. I mean, if you're going to take two EV vehicles off the market in a market that is exploding with EV vehicles that are available, and with the whole Chinese EV market trying its best to get into the U.S., this is going to hurt the U.S. automakers tremendously. Let's keep going.
Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one, and your opinion helps shape this channel. And hey, if you've made it this far and haven't subscribed yet, seriously? What are you waiting for? This is your moment. Smash that subscribe button.
All right,
give us a like.
I'm gonna cut it off right there. They is begging, boy. So what we're talking about is that this is just a simple proof that with all of the positive goings-ons when it comes to tariffs and the U.S. automakers and the new jobs that are becoming available and the new factories that are being built, we still have Stellantis sitting here not advancing forward, creating more and more problems for themselves, bringing back all these workers to the Sterling Heights assembly plant, but then not having the correct utilities or technology or the things that they would need to move that plant forward by, at the very least, just selling the vehicles that are coming out of it. I mean, you're talking about several vehicles that have already been built at this plant that are just going to have to sit because Stellantis has decided it's not going to be selling these cars in the next couple of years, and that's just crazy. With the EV market changing so drastically day by day, you're going to sit on two cars that people were waiting for, two vehicles that people were definitely waiting for, definitely want to see, definitely want to ride in. We're talking about big Ram trucks that are EVs. It's just something that's not on the road a lot. Only place that's on the road a lot is in China. You got the Rivians and all those type of things of the world, but we want to see what Dodge and Ram does with their EV vehicles, specifically in their 2500s, their 1500s, their 3500s. Those big trucks, those trucks that we standardly use as work trucks, those are the ones that we need to see how they're affected by the EV market, how they're driven if they have EV batteries in them. We need to understand this. We need the knowledge of having a farm with an EV truck working that farm. We need that knowledge. And without those vehicles being on the road, we just don't have it. We don't have the ideas of what these vehicles can do. And to kibosh it and put these vehicles on hold again is just going to put the U.S. automakers behind again when it comes to the EV market. All right, let us keep it going. Keep it going. So next up, we're going to talk about dealership cloning. Okay, dealership cloning is pretty much just people getting scammed out of money. That's just the simplest way to put it. People looking to buy vehicles, vehicles the easiest way possible, and standardly the easiest way possible, just like anything else, is just go online. You find something online, you got to prove that it is something real, then you purchase it, and usually, in most cases, it's cheaper online. So we got a couple decided they were going to try to get I think it was a Tesla online at cheap price, and they got dealership clone scheme ran on them. Let's check it out.
Well, Carfax markets itself as sort of the gold standard for vehicle history. Its car history reports are comprehensive and largely accurate. But our Action News investigative team recently uncovered you can't trust everything on its site. Investigative reporter Chapardelli shows us how some criminal networks are doing what's called dealership cloning and using the site in an elaborate scheme to dupe victims.
It all looked very legitimate at first glance.
The shiny Lexus SUV was listed for sale on Carfax for roughly $46,000.
The fact that my husband found the car on Carfax first and then was led to the dealer through that we were safe.
Adriana Parsons says the dealer was Specialty Auto out of Lincoln, Nebraska. Parsons had concerns about buying a car 1,400 miles away. She says she spoke with a man claiming to be the owner, Jim Woods. Her husband did some digging and found a Jim Woods does own Specialty Auto.
He played the role. My gut was telling me to stop. I didn't listen to it well enough.
She even requested what's called a cold video of the SUV to prove Woods had the vehicle.
Ready?
Yes.
She received this. Now comfortable, the couple wired $45,000 in mid-November. It was expected to be shipped to their Doylestown, Bucks County home in a week.
Talk about how legitimate the website appeared.
Oh my, so legitimate. Every single car was on Carfax.
But here's the rub. She wasn't talking to the real Jim Woods. I did. The 80-year-old tells me he has zero internet presence to market his vehicles, and he says several people have come forward to him saying they too were scammed.
We came to find out that criminals like this look for guys just like him.
They create fancy websites and clone legitimate listings from other reputable auto dealers. After wiring the funds, the Parsons waited
We're all excited.
and waited, but the vehicle never came.
That moment when you knew you lost $45,000.
Devastating.
We asked Carfax how it vets companies who pay to list vehicles on the company's site and get other answers about the scam and possible other victims. They declined a request, saying in part, while we are sympathetic to the situation, we are unable to provide more specific data on these issues. If Carfax is made aware of a potentially fraudulent listing, the team acts swiftly to investigate and remove.
Do you think Carfax should be doing more to vet who is listing vehicles on their site?
Absolutely.
Another victim tells us he lost $18,000 trying to buy the exact same Lexus, but it was advertised on a different site. We reached out to the Nebraska Department of Motor Vehicles. The director told us it contacted the FBI and referred the case to the state's attorney general, but didn't believe an actual crime occurred in Nebraska.
Wasn't the only thing that went wrong for us in the days leading up to it, and it's cataclysmic.
And since we began investigating, the sham Specialty Auto website has been taken down. The Bucks County Regional Police Department tells me it's investigating, but couldn't comment further. Now, if you're going to buy a vehicle sight unseen, experts say use a reputable escrow company to hold the funds until the vehicle is delivered and inspected. I'm Action News investigative reporter Chad Perdelli, Channel 6 Action News.
All right, so this situation kind of affects me directly. I do run a online automotive dealership. I do sell cars online. And of course, the simple fact for me is that the majority of the vehicles I've sold, I had the ability to be there. When the car was delivered, I had the ability to, do the walkarounds visually for the customers. I haven't done very many car sales from super far away as of yet, and of course, probably because of situations like this, it's kind of hard to really allow a person to evaluate a vehicle from long distance away. My company now is more along the lines of seeing if a person is interested in a certain type of vehicle, then we will do the investigation of finding that vehicle that's closer to them so they have the ability to go look at the vehicle and things of that nature. So this is a direct attack on my online automotive dealership, but it's just one of those things where the internet allows for a lot of great things. It allows for you to purchase things fairly quickly, look at things fairly quickly. But of course, the biggest problem is the internet is a travel trove of deception and scammery and people trying to get you for your money without giving you anything. And it's sad because all kinds of people, not only automotive, you're getting scammed when it comes to Temu and eBay and all these other things. When you're buying stuff online, it's always going to be pretty questionable. So, if you're going to go about the process of buying, something like a car, in most cases, the second most expensive thing that people buy in their lives, you have to do your extreme due diligence. You have to cover every nook and cranny, every base. Have to make sure that you are not one that's getting taken advantage of, in this situation, and it's hard sometimes. It's really hard. You know, obviously these people did a lot of investigation, and they still got taken advantage of. You know, the scammers are becoming top notch. If the scammers are becoming top notch, scammers are really learning their trade, and it's a sad situation. They're advanced to the point where they can use the internet to build fake websites, you know, create fake videos, all of these things just to get a hold of your money. So it's just a situation you just have to do extreme due diligence, have to do everything in your possible power to make sure you are not getting scammed. I really believe that the escrow idea is a wonderful idea, specifically if you're, you know, because that's the basis of why it's done when it comes to homes and those of that nature. So since we're talking about the second most expensive item that you probably buy in your life, and if you're going to go online to buy with sight unseen, an escrow situation is a good idea, a great idea. I would definitely think that would definitely be a great way to handle this situation and to avoid you getting scammed or not receiving the product that you want. But let's face it, you know, people have to be smarter. People have to definitely be smarter, have to definitely check every corner, every situation, everything that they can to make sure that they're not ones that are getting taken advantage of. All right, let's keep it going. So, last but not least, we're going to talk on a pretty it's a subject that is not really controversial, because it's not going to stop off of my word. It's not going to be a situation that is going to change anytime soon. But I truly believe that when it comes to police officers, I think that I'm seeing a lot of situations where are causing me to believe that women should not be police officers when it comes to those street aggressive situations. I'm seeing so many cases, and another thing, I'm a big On Patrol Live fan, which used to be Live PD. So I watch these shows regularly, and I personally know that there's an extreme amount of female police officers. Some counties dang near have all female police officers, which I am amazed by. I've seen situations where on these shows, or you will see at a police scene like 3 or 4 women and 1-2 men, and I truly believe that I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't think that there's a percentage of women that can be police officers and do it at a top level, but I will always say that to some degree, women are physically the weaker sex, and that is what ultimately my problem is when it comes to female officers out in the field. So we're going to check out a video, and this video and some other things that I saw is the main reasons that I've come up with this, because I've said it before to several people that, you know, I wouldn't. The question is always is that, do you want a female protecting you or a man protecting you? And in most cases, most people are going to say a man. And so when it comes, and I have to keep on drilling this down. I'm not saying that women are incompetent. I'm not saying that women can't be police officers. I know for a fact, I met a police officer, a young lady, and she was, I really truly believe that she was perfect for the job, but she had some attributes that are not normal for women. She was roughly about 6 feet tall. Young lady was probably well over 200 pounds. You could tell that she lifted regularly, because the reason I met her was because one of my trucks had broken down in the middle of the road, and a young lady pulled up behind me. Fantastic police officer, and she is literally the reason that I have some reservation on what I'm saying, because I've met her in person, and I wish I could remember her name. She was a great young lady, and she was bigger, she was stronger as a woman, and she helped me push one of my big trucks off of the road. Strong woman, and she is literally the only idea in my head out of all the situations that I've seen women in, all the TV shows I've watched, watching the 911s of the world. I've watched in almost every TV show that I've seen, that I've watched it with any regularity, that included something about police officers. Because I watch a lot of shows about police officers, 911, Chicago PD. Don't watch as much TV as I used to, but back in the day when I did, they always showed, of course, female officers, but in every show that they showed, they always showed an incident in one episode or another where the female officer got beat up by a man. I think Angela Bassett got beat up really bad in an episode of 911. Chicago PD, the young lady got beat up and thrown in the back of a police car. And that's what I worry about. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the whole fact that women hold a women hold a disadvantage against your standards man when it comes to aggressiveness and power and ability to do things. So let's check out this video. Maybe this will give you a better idea where I'm coming from. We'll go from there. So in this video we are watching, it shows no audio.
They're saying that you just need forever. They're saying that you just need forever.
Yes, I got it. Yes, I got it. Yes, I got it.
She just took it out of her hand, yo. And she had it on. She could have pulled the trigger.
Please don't shoot me.
Running from him?
She's got her weapon. Put it down, dude. Put it down. Put it down.
This could have went
Hey,
so
put
much
it down.
worse. Damn, cuz.
998. 998.
All right, first off, why did he? I'm confused. Why did the? Okay, I get it. The criminal had the young lady's weapon. I mean, I didn't see him pointing at the police officer or anything like that. I seen him get into the police car. I guess the police car could be considered a weapon that he could be about to use. So that was the reason that the police officer started shooting him, I guess.
Hey, put it down.
Look how she's scared she is. Listen to her. She's shook. She is shook, bro. That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm talking about, guys. That you see how shook she was? This is what I'm talking about. You see how scared and shook she was? There was so many ways she could have handled it, but that dude was skinny as hell, small as hell, and he just took that gun out of her hands like it was nothing. And that's what worries me. I mean, I'm sitting here saying this because I want to protect women, and I don't want women's desires to be just like men or to work in men's positions to get them killed. And that's what I'm talking about. I've seen, I've been investigating this for the last couple of days. There's a couple of shows going on. I think Fetty is doing one about men and women protecting each other, and all these other shows, and with all of the investigation I've been doing, and then of course with the whole Diddy and Cassie situation on if Cassie could be the one that could be more of the problem than Diddy was. And my thing is that as much as women can be strong and powerful and influential, there is always going to be that factor of life that men are going to have over women. And in most cases, it's going to be strength. In some cases, it's going to be intelligence. But in most cases, like this, it's going to be strength. And then, of course, you have the underlying situation of where, women have more of a desire to preserve life than men do, to the point of why that young lady didn't shoot this dude when he had the gun in his hand and he was still pointing at him and she wasn't pulling the trigger. I don't know, guys. My whole thing is that I enjoy or preserve the life of the women of our world, and I think we've run to an aggressive place where we can sit here and say that, women should be out here protecting men. And that sounds bad, I guess. But this is what I think. I don't think that women should be police officers. I don't really honestly think women should be in the military. I think that there's it's a small percentage of women that can do these things successfully, is what my opinion is. I think that every other aspect of it can be done if you want to work in the offices or anything like that. And this is sounding bad, but I'm going to keep on going because it is the truth. I think that we went way too far with the feminist movement, way too far with the idea of what women should and could be doing. And what I'm saying is, you have to understand that it has been proven time and time again. I mean, the simple fact is that, of course, when it comes to the military situation, the whole G.I. Jane situation was just fake. I watched an episode of Live PD or On Patrol Live the other night, and there was a young police officer lady. She had to be 300 pounds. She had to be 300 pounds. And it's crazy because I watch this show a lot, and I watch it in it's Toledo, Ohio. Toledo, Ohio, for some odd reason, has lots and lots of female police officers. And it has one of the highest crime rates around, specifically in Ohio. Isn't that crazy? Why would you continue to, hire hire female police officers in a place that has exorbitant amounts of crime, exorbitant amounts of deaths and attacks and burglaries, and the whole thing is that the fact that you have to change all of the parameters of entrance to these places, the military, the police. The fact that you have to change the parameters of entry into these places so that women can get in tells you everything you want to know. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to end here. What I'm going to say is that I personally don't like female officers because I fear for their lives, and I don't think they have the right ability to protect the people because they should be more worried about protecting themselves. I think that women, specifically in the situation we just watched, can be overpowered by men that are extremely smaller than them, and that is in itself is a problem. I think that is, if we are going to continue to allow women, or if we allow women to continue to be police officers in the military, do all these jobs protecting people, I think the simple answer would be to make them take the same test, intro test, entry test, whatever that men do. And they have to meet the exact same standard that those men do. If you are a woman and you can meet the exact same standards that a man met to join the police officer, to join the police, to join the military, then I won't have anything to say. But if you continue to get into the police, get into the military, get into all these other things where you are obligated to protect others, and you're doing it on a lesser level, then that to me makes you a lesser person in that place. It makes you a lesser police officer, makes you a lesser military officer, And if you're lesser, then you should be doing lesser work. I hope that makes sense, guys. I'm going to let y'all go and get up out of here. Just my first controversial subject, I would say, because I love women. I think there's definitely some good female police officers out there. I'm not even saying that, but what I'm saying is that being a female police officer in certain situations is a magnificent risk, and I guess it's a risk for men too. I guess there's softer men out there, but I care less about a man than I do about a woman. And that's it. All right, guys, I'm your boy Chris C. Pup Surratt. Thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'm out of here. Peace.